Greetings Sentinels fans, time for another look at promo variants. This week will be the Void Guard. So let's get started. I'm specifically doing the Void Guard, since the Southwest Sentinels are part of the Vengeance expansion, while the Void Guard got their own. Let's start strong with the big guy, Mainstay. He has two variants. His base variant is simple. He deals a target 1 point of damage and then does that again. This means he can consolidate the damage on one enemy for 2 damage, or hit 2 different enemies for 1. And of course, this is multiple instances of damage, so it scales well to general damage boosts, of which Mainstay has a few. It is pretty easily replaced by his Oblivion Shard on a chain, but it's serviceable. His Road Warrior variant is... well, it's unique, I'll give it that much. Essentially, what it does is allow Mainstay to do a point of retaliatory damage when he is hit while the power is active. Now, this can actually allow for some sneaky effects if you use certain cards and setups, but is overall not really all that useful. 1 point of damage or 2 if you have Shard Strength is not really worth the power use if it requires he gets hit for it to activate. Also, to get the best results, it needs setup, while the original can be useful on turn 1 and get better with setup. The original is the better and my preferred version. And now for Dr. Medico, Medical Doctor. Our healing buddy has 2 versions and they are very different. The original is an extension of his healing abilities, providing a boost of 2 healing to a hero the next time they get healed. This essentially comes out as 2 points of healing, but can also be used to set up power uses through the use of Second Opinion, without having to go through the effort of setting up his other prep cards. Malpractice Medico essentially turns his healing into hurting. Once per turn per hero target, Medico can switch from healing heroes to hurting bad guys. Depending on the setup, this can get a little nuts. But if you actually need the healing, then all you have to do is not use the power and you can heal to your heart's content. So having the option to perform both offense and healing makes Malpractice the strictly better version, but I prefer the original, because there aren't any healer characters aside from Medico. Many heroes can take up that role, but none of them do it as a primary function. Turning Medico into an offense character takes away from his uniqueness. Next, we have Idealist. This cheerful young hero with a secret dark side has 2 variants, both working with her concept cards. The original makes her draw an extra card, then she can place a fragment from her hand under a concept card to power it up. It's nice, but ultimately not an amazing power. She gets extra card draws from the floating cat head, and Strained Super Ego allows her to play extra fragments, which means she can get a card under a concept, but also gets the benefit from the fragment. So in the end, this power can be replaced by cards in her deck. The Super Sentai promo works differently. If you use this power, then she takes a concept in play and all the cards under it and places them under her character card. She then deals a target an amount of damage equal to the card she's got stored under the character card, and then she destroys one of those cards. And that's the big difference between her and the other concept cards in her deck. All her other concepts destroy every card under them when used. Form the Head only destroys 1. This means that you need to put effort to power up the other concepts, but once this one is going, it keeps going. So while the Karate Robot can deal more damage, Form the Head can deal more damage per turn, because it doesn't need refueling. Or at least it doesn't need all that much refueling. So the original is better for getting Idealist started, but Super Sentai is better throughout the game. I actually do not have a personal preference between the two, but I do recognize Super Sentai as better. And finally, Writhe, my favorite of the group. This whiff of shadow has 2 variants. His base variant is simple, but the entire deck is practically shaped around it. When he uses this power, he summons the Shadow Cloak and puts it in play. Quite useful considering how awesome the cloak is, and how often you're going to be blowing it up. Moving on to the Cosmic Inventor version, and things get nuts. This Writhe gets the ability to shield an ally 1 hit per turn, preventing the damage. It's a really powerful shield, especially when you use it on people who hurt themselves or in vengeance games. Heck, Writhe can use this power on himself as a replacement for the Shadow Cloak until you can find it. And once you do get it, you can keep it in play and protect another hero with the power, providing a free shield to 2 heroes. What's more, the power even has Writhe draw 2 cards. So not only are you getting the good stuff really quickly, but you will also have a lot of dump cards for the Shadow Cloak. Now, some people don't like that Cosmic Inventor doesn't have easy access to the Shadow Cloak. And while I agree that you probably won't be breaking it quite as much with this variant, I want to do math and this video is short anyways, so indulge me. So let's assume that we are at the start of the game and we have no Shadow Cloak. Well, in the game, there is the Shadow Cloak itself, 2 copies of Flight and Fade, and 2 copies of Skiyamaki. That's 5 cards out of 40 that summon the cloak from the deck. So 1 out of every 9 cards will have a method of getting it. Since you can draw 3 cards every turn, you have a 1 in 3 chance of grabbing one of them in each turn. Now, if you have destroyed the Shadow Cloak but want it back, then you can add Somber Tinkerer into the mix, bringing it to 7 out of 40 cards. That's not quite as easily divided, but those odds are better. Well, what if, by some curse of probability, all those cards are at the bottom of the deck, ignoring the Dark Lab for the purposes of this thought experiment? Then you have 4 cards at the start of the game, and 5 cards to get to, so you have to burn through 31 cards to get to them. Well, with a card draw of 3, thanks to the power, you can accomplish that in 11 turns. I've noted before that the average game takes around 10 rounds. So while it is possible, I'd be shocked if you weren't able to get the Shadow Cloak at least once in a game. So that said, while Cosmic Inventor is certainly the superior version, I actually prefer Original, since Cosmic Inventor is a bit too good, and the original is all about grabbing the cloak, blowing it up for a big effect, and then getting it right back. Whereas you're less likely to do all the fun cloak-breaking stuff with Cosmic Inventor. And those are the variants of the Void Guard. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Next week, I want to try something different, some other stuff that I'm into. So I hope that you will come back next week and hope you enjoy it. Take care, friends. Probably should have drank some more water or something. But you will also have a... I'm going a little too fast. Jeez, the entirety of this recording is shorter than some episodes I've got. This will be a short one.